Joe, it looks like you're gradually ramping up your activity. How's your left knee responded to everything?
It's good, really good. Happy with where it's at. Still got a ways to go. Still got about 3 months left for the rehab, but I'll be ready to go for the season as long as there's no setbacks. And right now, it's looking good.
Joe, a lot of your receivers are talking about you got a lot more zip on the ball from last year. What are you doing different to increase that velocity?
I got a great trainer that has been helping me with that. And a lot of it is just practicing throwing the ball hard. But if it shows up right now, it doesn't matter. It's going to show up in the game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Besides your velocity, what other aspects of your game are you trying to improve upon this offseason?
Knowing all the answers that I can get to if we get stuck in a bad play against a bad defense, knowing the good play against that defense that I can get to quickly within the shot clock. So, that's just comes with reps and time.
Joe, I think you had said you were 85% coming in. Where would you put it now?
Not the same. That wasn't. We're still working at rehab throughout the whole off season, meaning throughout OTAs, but couldn't do as much as usual just because of practice, fatigue, all of that. So we'll ramp that back up now and get back to 100% before camp.
Is there anything you're doing that has surprised you? Is there anything in particular that's kind of stood out and said, geez, I wasn't sure if I could do that now, but you are doing it?
No, not really. Just slowly adding things in, getting better and better each week.
Joe, with respect to that, you mentioned adding things in, probably potentially taking some things out once you see them out on the field, once you rep them out on the field as players and coaches. Is that part of the process that goes on now?
Yeah. You continue to watch film from the season and watch walkthrough. You get a lot of good through walkthrough reps and mental reps from the back. So, we'll continue to do that to myself as well and get ready to go.
Joe, it looked like you were vibing with Jamar in 7-on-7. I mean, how has that relationship progressed throughout OTAs and now day one of minicamp?
Right back to where it was. I'm excited about where he's at. He's a really smart player that understands what we're trying to do in the offense. I'm not going to have to tell him what to do every single play. He knows exactly what's expected of him. So, we got a lot of great guys on offense. We just got to execute when we get on the field.
Joe, it looked like in 7-on-7, I'm not sure the ball hit the ground. It looked like it was a pretty good drill today, 7-on-7.
Yeah, we were clicking. I think all camp the ball might have hit the ground once in 7-on-7. So, that's the way it should be in 7-on-7 with no rush. So, we're going to continue to execute. And that also comes with routes on air, just knowing the timing of the receivers, and we're getting better and better each week.
Joe, your bandwidth for the playbook as a rookie, Zach talked about just your ability to absorb a lot. How wide has that got now? Have you guys expanded that significantly more in the offseason?
Yeah, it's just putting more on my plate. As far as, like I said before, checks that, you always have two plays that you can get to at the line. You have, call two in the huddle, but then you also have the plays that you have in your back pocket if you see something that you might have seen before, but it wasn't what you were expecting, and you know what to get to right then. So it's just the quick processing that I'm going to continue to get better and better at. And, I'm excited to execute that in the season, because there's nothing better than when a defense shows you something that you weren't expecting and you know exactly what to get to. And then the defense gets frustrated, and then they start, going out of their game plan and making mistakes.
Yeah, thank you.
Joe, you go against, you went against your own defense, all the time in practice and everything last year. Going against the guys, there's been a big turnover personnel-wise defensively. Going against guys, and I know it's the early stages of everything, but do you feel encouraged by what you're seeing out there in terms of personnel changes and guys that are contributing?
Yeah, the biggest thing, it's hard. We went against each other maybe 3 times. We did a few 7-on-7s, but we didn't really do any full speed 11-on-11, so it's tough to see that part. But the biggest thing is in the locker room. The guys are vocal. You can tell we brought in really good people that are going to work hard to get to where we want to go. So we brought in the right people, brought in the right players that are going to do exactly what we need them to do.
Joe, I know it's not a apples to apples comparison by any stretch of the imagination, but do you see any similarities between that offseason going into that 2019 year at LSU and this one going into year 2 in Cincy?
It feels – I think the biggest thing is I got a lot of people here that I recognize. We have a lot of Ohio State guys, have a lot of LSU guys. And so it's fun being around friends. It is. The vibe in the locker room is awesome. Everyone talks to everybody. There's no, offenses by themselves, defenses by themselves. It's really, we have great camaraderie in the locker room. And I think that is the first stepping stone to being a great team.
Go along those lines. How are you embracing leadership and how's the chemistry coming along with guys you worked with obviously last year at this time and guys like Jamar coming in this year?
I've never really consciously thought about leadership too much. I just tried to be myself, talk to a lot of different people, have conversations with a lot of different people that, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy hearing from, guys in the locker room that maybe don't talk a lot and hearing their stories. And I think that goes a long way a lot of the times. And then, not speaking up too much about, don't be a rah-rah guy that yells at people all the time. So then when you do have something to say, people will listen and take it seriously. So I just always tried to be myself and that's been enough.
Thank you.
Joe, in case we don't talk to you again before training camp, kind of what does your outline look like on kind of what you want to do between now and when training camp starts at the end of July?
And continue to work hard, get better and better, add some more weight. Going to continue to do what I was doing before OTA started. I feel great. My body feels great, and he still has a little ways to go. But my upper body, my right leg, everything else feels better than it ever has before. And when I'm on the field, I'm executing and playing better than I ever have before. So we're going to continue the program that we were on, and get back to 100% before camp.
Joe, in a perfect world, what would you weigh going into camp?
I always lose a little bit of weight throughout the season, so we'll be, close to 220 before camp, and then, there's always a little drop off throughout the season just because it's such a grind.
Joe, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Joe, do you expect to take the first snap at camp, or is that even necessary? Just getting
yeah, we should be good to go then. That's not really my decision, but I'm sure we'll have that discussion as we get closer. But I'm hoping to be in a good place to be able to do that and take all the reps that I need to do better.
2 more minutes.
Joe, you mentioned you just be yourself in terms of being a leader. That's your MO. Is there anybody that you can point to along the way that you said, boy, that's a leader? That's what a leader looks like. Is there anybody that's influenced you in that regard?
No, I wouldn't say I've really modeled my leadership after anybody. You always hear stories about people, but I think the leaders that try to be a leader aren't the best leaders. You're either a leader or you're not. A lot of people say that you can train that. I don't really think you can. I think you're kind of born with it. And, I've always just done what I do and been myself, and, the rest just takes care of itself.
Hey, Joe, well, you knew about Jamar before he got here. Was there a moment, or has there been a moment on the field where Jamar did something and you looked around and saw people maybe in awe and you just said, that's just him?
Everyone's been surprised at how smart he was. And I told everyone coming in, he's not going to bust. He's going to know exactly what to do. He's going to be a pro, and that's exactly what's happened. And then he's just super smooth on the field. He doesn't look like he's going super hard, and guys will come up to me. He's like, is he going hard? And then we go up against the defense, and you can see he looks exactly the same, but he's going the same, but he's just at a different speed than everybody else. So, it's exciting to have him. He's going to be great for us, and he's a great friend as well.
Thank you.
What's the biggest difference that you've seen in him? Not having been away from him for a couple of years on a day-to-day basis, what's the biggest difference now that you see in him than the last time you saw him at LSU?
I told him he looks much smoother than he did back then. There's no, if he's running an out or an in or a go, it all looks the same for 10 yards, and then he just snaps it off really fast. And, that's a great trait to have.
Hey, well, last question, Dave Lapham. I know you're trying to get in. Go ahead.
Joe, T. Higgins worked real hard redoing his body, remaking himself a little bit. Have you noticed a difference in T. Higgins when you've thrown him the football? Has it paid off for him?
Big difference. He looks like a different guy out there. We were throwing the deep balls, and the first couple I underthrew a little bit, and I was like, geez, T, where did that come from? I didn't really expect that from him, and he's getting out of there this year. We have some horses on offense that I'm really excited about. T's gonna have a big year.